Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Grand Finals day of King of the Sea 13 North American region. I am Bogsy. I am joined by my co-host for today, Askance. Hello, Askance.
Hello, hello. Good to see everybody.
Yeah. So we have a very, very special day for you guys. We have the first matches of the Grand Finals day, which is going to be KSC versus AP. Killsteal confirmed versus Absolute Penetration. They are actually in Game 1 as we speak, as the EU cast was finishing up. We encouraged them to go ahead and get playing. We did not want them to have to wait too long on us. But we will get in on Game 2 and Game 3 for them if they go to a Game 3. But before we get too dove into that, let's talk to our noble casters. Let's get them introduced. We have Sea Raptor and Lord Zath. Hi, fellas.
How's it going?
Hi.
Welcome.
Good to have you back. You guys did a great job yesterday. Looking forward to watching some more of your over-game commentary today.
Thank you much.
Yeah, Lord Zath, I'm curious. What do you? We got a little bit of time here to chat. What do you think? The first match we're going to start with is KSC versus AP. How do you feel about that matchup?
Well, it's a great matchup. Both are very strong teams. We're actually watching Game 1 right now. You had mentioned, Bogsy, that's occurring kind of in the background as we get things all set up here with the transition. AP looking very strong to start, but I'll tell you what, that doesn't mean KSC is out. It is a best of 3, though. So, as you mentioned, we have 1, if not 2 games to go.
That's right. And Sea Raptor, as I understand this correctly, this is not the first time in this tournament that AP and KSC have actually faced up. Is that right?
It is not. They met up, I believe. I'm going to double check myself here. Well, I'm pretty sure it was the top 8. KSC did win that match, which knocked AP into the losers bracket, which, of course, now after KSC lost to 07 yesterday, we caught that match here in the North American semifinals here on the channel. They have met up again. AP has won their way through the winners bracket up to this point, on the very cusp of being able to win their way into that third place match. KSC not going to just roll over and let them do it, though. So the two teams square off again, and we'll get to see at least one game of it, let's say.
Yeah, at least one game.
At least one game.
That's right. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Good to see you both. We'll come back to you guys when it's game time. In the meantime, Askance and I are going to talk a little bit about the prizes that everyone's playing for, as well as a fun contest that we have for the people in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
we'll see you guys in the game.
All right.
So, Askance, let's talk prizes. What do we got?
We've got a cool little prize pool for every individual player. 5,000 steel, 5,000 doubloons, 25 KOTS camos, which are kind of like a discount Spring Sky. They're pretty sexy. Then we've got a tier 10 camo you can stick on any ship you want, make it a bright, brilliant steel color. And Bogsy, there's a shirt.
I want the shirt. Yeah, this is the really cool new T-shirt made specifically for King of the Sea, featuring our very fancy new King of the Sea logo, which we were talking yesterday. We're speculating on what we think it looks like. It definitely looks like a cool pirate medallion. I'm going to get one myself and wear it when I stream. So anyway, do go check that out, please. And as well as these prizes that Askance just mentioned, we also are playing today for the right to go to the international championships and represent the North American region. The North American region has the opportunity, like every other region, to compete for actual cash prize money from international finals. So, for prices 5 through 8, $2,500 American, I believe it's American, will be equally distributed amongst all the players. $5,000 for fourth place, $7,500 for third place, $10,000 for second place, and a whopping $17,500 for the first place world champions.
That's some cash right there.
That's like some legitimate cash right there. That's
yeah.
That's a new graphics card if you're somebody like me who desperately needs a new graphics card. So good luck to everyone today. Right now, I think we can go ahead and transition to who's competing for internationals. Because at the moment, Bonks and 07, having played yesterday, are automatically entered into internationals. They cannot not go to internationals. That was the worst way I could have possibly said that. However, what we are competing for right now, AP and KSC are competing to see who is the third team to go represent NA in the international finals.
Mm-hmm. That they are. KSC and AP have just finished their first match. So a little bit of an update here. Looks like AP took the first one. So they've taken
Ooh.
their one step toward that international victory. But we'll see if KSC is able to bring it back.
Absolutely. And actually, going back to the quarterfinals, I believe was what it was, round of 16, when AP and KSC matched up the first time. AP did end up taking that first match in that series of 3, but KSC came back and won the second 2. So if you are KSC, you are hoping for a repeat of history and a little deja vu to get that those 2 extra wins and move on to guarantee a spot in internationals. Whomever is the winner of this of this matchup between AP and KSC will go on to face Bonks. Whomever wins that matchup between AP or KSC and Bonks will then go on to face 07 at the end of our cast today to see who is the grand final for North America. First match was played on Northern Waters. The second was played on Hotspot. I believe this is the first time this weekend we've seen Hotspot, or have we already seen it once before?
I don't know. I don't think anybody was willing to take that chance. I think it was consistently banned because this is a map that has not been in KOTS before. If I understand correctly, not only has the map not been in KOTS before, but this configuration has not been seen until this KOTS right here. So we've got to watch as people innovate their strategies almost on the fly. They came in with an idea of how to play, and then there's the first group stage, the second bit of groups, and people have innovated and kind of played off of each other. But for the most part, established teams have not wanted to take a risk and jump into the unknown with something and try to figure out everybody's strategies before they occur. They would much rather bring the tried and true, the stuff they know that works, that their players have machined out. And this is really a surprise pick. And if I understand this correctly, I think AP likely picked the first map, which means, did KSC pick this one? That would be quite a start.
At the moment. But it could verbally, we can get that verified. I think they're getting ready to go soon, so I want to try and get through a few more things and not hold them up too longer. First and foremost, we have a prediction that we're going to throw up in the chat for all of you. That prediction will net you some KOTS camos if you participate. All you have to do is answer a few questions about how you think the series is going to go. If you think that KSC is going to take this match, or if you think that AP is going to take this round and go on to face Bonks, you basically have to predict first, second, and third place. Every time you are correct, you will get yourself some KOTS camos. So, free stuff, man. Do it.
Woo!
Take part in that. It'll be popping up in the chat shortly if it has not already. One more thing to mention about this, the bans. We have, yes, there we go. Thank you very much. God, I love that. Once again, they're not labeled, but the bans are Venezia and Alexander Nevsky. There we go. Updated. Yes. Very nice. So this is, Oskans and I actually caught this earlier, and we're not surprised, and yet kind of surprised. What do you make of this, Oskans? Nevsky and Venezia once again.
It's surprising to me that right now we're seeing such a destroyer-centric playstyle. 4 destroyers commonly, often a Ragnar, maybe even a Marceau or 2. And yet, we see the cruisers that deal with destroyers being taken off the board. So it's almost like if everybody's diving into the destroyer playstyle, wouldn't you expect somebody to want to counter it? And yet both sides, literally both sides, and multiple different sets that we've seen have just decided, no, we want the destroyer playstyle. We want this. We feel comfortable in this. We feel we can outplay, and we want to at least try to preserve their health pool so that we can go into the mid and maybe even the late game with some destroyers that still have a few hit points left on them. So yeah, a little surprising how everybody's just jumped into the DD meta and they're feeling like this is the way to go. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
It has been very interesting. Every game we have cast so far this weekend has had the 2 bans, Alexander Nevsky and Venezia. These are the 2 greatest cruiser threats to a destroyer I would say in most people's eyes. Long range, accurate, good ballistics, huge throw weight against destroyers. So this allows metas where Ragnars and Marceaus just run crazy and it can be brought in 3 or even 4 sometimes because there's nothing that big and scary except maybe a Moskva, maybe a Des Moines that's in close range. But generally speaking, these are the 2 biggest threats to DDs. They're gone. So we'll have to see. Let's go ahead and check out the map that's coming up here real quick. We'll talk a little bit about that so that these guys can get rolling. This is, in fact, Hotspot, as Oskans was saying, and Hotspot, the new map to the rotation. I think he put it perfectly when he said that people are a little unsure about Hotspot because they're not as familiar with it in this competitive setting. The big thing about Hotspot is the decap, Thunderdome, that big caldera of volcanic islands, which allows people to get in, get dug in, and you have to make, I would say, pretty major movements to try and dig them out. I would say that opens itself up to dev strikes from torpedoes by hidden destroyers, or flanking maneuvers by hard-hitting or fast-firing cruisers. So I think that makes people nervous, wouldn't you say?
I think it does. I've seen two different ways that this is played. Delta is often approached by having a strong 9-10 line presence to try to claim the map, begin to wrap it, and force whatever's buried in there out with some sense of safety. But the 9-10 line push, if we notice, it's not just one cap, it's not just two cap, it's actually three caps that are on the other side of D from the 9 to 10 lines. So if you're going to spend all your assets locking down that, you may very well lose two or even three caps and be waiting for those assets to swing off of the 9-10 line to be able to start adding pressure again. Now, I've had a discussion with a few people as to if a safe to safe push is viable going from B to A or A to B. It's a long journey with the spawn points for each team. And yet, depending on how they brace for D, it might really be something that you can get away with. So I've seen some teams try it. It's worked sometimes, it hasn't worked the other. I really don't think there's an established meta for this map, and that's just fabulous.
Right, exactly. There's no established COTS meta for Hotspot. So really what's happening here is folks are kind of going, like, no matter how good you are, when you haven't been able to really test something, it makes you feel uncomfortable because you don't want to be the caller who lets, or the strategist who lets your team down by making a glaring error that you haven't had time to explore. You haven't had time to experience, to try out yet. So I completely understand why this has probably been the most banned map so far in this tournament. But at the same time, yeah, it does open yourself up to, I would say, risks. You can choose to make you can take options on this map that allow you to exploit mistakes made by your opponent, or even, hey, we're going to make a 9-10 line push. We're going to sneak a cruiser around D. We're going to smack something in the broadside that's sitting just north of D. There are options. The big question to me is how much people are going to use the 1-2 line to try and flank up there to push the two, what I would call safe caps, as the ones that are weighted a little more heavily towards their own. Any final thoughts before we hop into the game here?
I think the 1-2 push will be interesting to see if that's actually a dedicated push or not, but we're about to find out because game 2 between AP and KSC is underway. So let's kick it over to our casting duo. Have fun, guys.